Hello, this is Notaspringchick, and today, well, we're here to talk about passports. Passports? Why would we talk about something like that? Well, passports are becoming much more important than most people ever thought they would. In fact, there's a lot of people that don't have a passport, probably never thought they would, especially if you're a senior citizen, right, old Cam?
I don't have one, but in order to get, to go cover news out, cover news in Canada or Mexico, we've got to have a passport. We can't go to Puerto Rico to cover stuff without a passport now.
So the question is, first of all, when do you need a passport? Number one is if you're traveling to a foreign country. Okay, now that also includes Canada and Mexico. Also, if you're going on a cruise, you go into international waters, so you may most likely require a passport. It's also a good source of identification.
Didn't your mother on you about getting your passport for your trip?
So that's part of it. So we're doing a cruise to Alaska, but because we're making a stop in British Columbia and we're going into international waters, I do need to have a passport. Well, at least an updated one. I know before my last one was for 10 years, and now you can, of course, get passports. I don't know if they're still good for 10 years, but anyway, there's also two things you can get. One's a passport book, and the other's a passport card. So your question is, well, what's the card for and what's the book for? So that's a good question, huh? Well, according to the passport officials here in Southern California, they said the passport card is for people that don't require the book, because the book, you like to get all the stamps for all the places you visit kind of as a souvenir. But the passport card is for people, intended for people that travel quite frequently between the U.S. and Canada or the U.S. and Mexico. So it's basically, I don't know, does it look like a driver's license? I don't know, but it's a passport card. So they have a couple different places. Now, of course, one of the places you always want to start is the internet, because it gives you all the answers. Yeah, if you go onto the internet, just search U.S. passport, and it'll give you all the different options. Also, the passport applications are, boy, I've seen them at the post office, quite a few government places. I mean, I don't know, they're almost like FedEx. They keep seeing these applications all over the place. I think part of the reason is more people are applying for them, right?
Yeah, but don't we need a birth certificate to get a passport?
Well, now that's the tricky thing. Is when you apply for a passport, there's a couple different applications, okay? And depending on how you respond, you can use one of the forms. So basically, you just check them off. There's different rates if you're renewing a passport, you're under 16, you're over 16. Your passport photos can be taken. Oh, actually, well, in getting ready for a passport, there's several different things that you need. Okay. Let's see, for example, if you have never had a passport, one of the things you'll need is a birth certificate. Now, I love this. Let's see. If a birth certificate was filed more than 1 year after the birth, and you need a certified birth certificate. And if no birth record exists, okay. Now, you're thinking, why would there be no birth record? Well, your records got burned in a fire, they got lost in a flood, the hospital burned down. I mean, there's a whole number of reasons.
Your parents weren't married?
Oh, yeah, but you still have a birth certificate. I mean, there would still be some.
Not necessarily.
Oh, really?
They don't want sometimes to be known that there was a birth, so you don't get a birth certificate.
Oh, really? I thought every time you got a birth, there was a birth.
There is supposed to and is.
Oh.
Two different words.
So there are situations where there may not be a birth certificate. If you do not have a birth certificate here in the United States, you can contact your records office. Now, and I'm saying you can contact. You must contact the records office, because if you don't, you cannot use another alternative means to show that you're born here in the United States. So the vital records list with birth certificates I picked up at the local passport office here in Southern California. You could probably see them online. We'll take a look online. It'll help you. So if you're born outside the United States, there's a whole list of things, like if you claim citizenship through naturalization of parents, claim it through birth abroad to one U.S. Citizen parent, etc., etc. So you've got a whole list. Now those are probably more the exceptions than anything. But part of it is you have to establish your identity to the satisfaction of the agent. Now there's two ways of applying. One is you can do it via the mail, which is really easy to do. Of course, that's not what I did, because I had multiple questions and wanted to ask them. But it's really easy to do because all you do is send in information that they request, which is a copy of, let's see, your U.S. citizenship. I'll show you this one right here. Here's the easy form. And this tells you if you can use it. Okay, if you've had a passport before. Can you see that one?
Yep.
Okay. Now it says, what do you send in with it? It's your most recent passport book or passport card. And actually, they haven't started issuing the passport cards yet, so you probably aren't sending one of those in. Marriage certificate or court order if your name's changed, your fees, and 2 recent color photographs. The photographs that you send in, you can do them yourself if you want, but they do have guidelines as to what size they should be. You can also get them done at places like Walgreens or Costco.
And the post office.
Post office. And also, if you're going to your local office, they do have a place that will shoot the photographs pretty easily right there. Yeah, the post office does too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can actually send this out from the post office, and they usually have some questions, can answer some questions. Now, typically, it will take you about a month to get your passport back. Yeah, 1 month you need to allow. Now, here's the question is, you can't expedite it if your travel is less than a month. And you can send it overnight via certified mail, which you can always do. But, sometimes you don't like to send things via mail, not because you think that it'll be lost or anything, but sometimes there's something about talking to a person so you know that it's done, it's sent in. So sometimes you want to do that. So there are local regional offices in some locations. Here in Southern California, we have one. There's also many throughout the United States.
Every major city in the United States would have one.
Yeah, you can go to the office. But one very important thing is make sure you call and make an appointment. Before, you could just walk in. The telephone number is, of course, on the internet. But for here, it's 877-487-2778. And they will prompt you through that. One of the things they will tell you is that the office is for people that will be traveling within 14 days.
Oh, what about when you have to fill a form out in order to be able to travel?
Well, you have to fill out the form anyway, but one of the things, because you're going to the office, you need to bring your travel itinerary. So they know you're going. Now, if you're traveling for business and you don't know if you're going to, you don't know if you're going to be booking it until all your stuff is finalized, then you bring in your information and show it to them. Because, the people, okay, they're bureaucrats, and, it's pretty reasonable because they understand. Because I told them, I said, I apologize, I'm not traveling within 14 days, but because the other period is for 1 month, if something happens or if they have a question, there's not really a lot of time to respond and get it straightened out. So they understood. So,
Yeah, but also, though, if you have to book the vacation, they need their passport.
Right. And and some of them, they need your passport when they're booking the vacation. Do they really do that? Some
of the places, aren't we going to Japan? Isn't that a requirement?
That's right. It is one of the requirements. And also, you want to get it done as soon as you can because you want the better pay. Hopefully. Yeah. So, anyway, there is lots of information on the passports, but it can be easy or it could be a little more difficult. It all depends on what your documentation is. So this is Notaspringchick on passports.